أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يسألك الناس The people ask you عن الساعة about the final hour. Who asked who? The people used to ask the Prophet ﷺ about the Day of Judgment. What about it? That when is it going to occur? And An-Nas over here, some have said that it refers to in particular the mushrikeen of Makkah. And why would they ask the Prophet ﷺ about the coming of the Day of Judgment? Out of mockery. That whenever they had some argument, some discussion with the Prophet ﷺ, and he warned them of the coming of that day, what would they say? So when is it going to be? And what was the response of the Prophet ﷺ? Allah knows better, I do not know. So, by asking this question, what would they do? They would get a chance of making fun of him. They would get a chance of mocking at him. Because as a messenger, as a human being, he did not know the answer to that. Only Allah knew. Secondly, the Jews, the Yahud, even they would ask the Prophet ﷺ about when the Day of Judgment was going to occur. And why would they ask? In order to test his knowledge. That is he really a messenger or is he just someone who is pretending? So يَسْأَلُكَ النَّاسُ عَنِ السَّاعَةِ The people ask you about the hour. And as-sa'a literally means the moment, the hour. So which moment is this? Which hour is this? The hour when the Day of Judgment would begin. قُلْ Say to them, إِنَّمَا عِلْمُهَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ That indeed its knowledge is with who? It's only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No prophet knows about it. No angel knows about it. No human being. No one. No one knows as to when the Day of Judgment is going to come. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about it. إِنَّمَا عِلْمُهَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ And what can inform you? Who does you refer to? The Prophet ﷺ. And yudrika, yudri, idra, from the root letters, dal, ra, ya. And what kind of knowledge is this? Diraya, to know something by effort. Right? You have to put in effort and only then you can come to know about it. So no matter how much research you do, no matter how much you try to investigate, no matter how much you try to find out when the Day of Judgment is going to be, وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ And what can inform you? لَعَلَّ السَّاعَةَ That perhaps the hour تَكُونُ قَرِيبًا That it is near. How would you know? Perhaps the hour is near. You never know. Because whatever is coming, it is close. And you see, وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ Who is being addressed over here? The Prophet ﷺ. So if you cannot find out, can anyone else find out? If you cannot know, can anyone else know? It's impossible. وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ لَعَلَّ السَّاعَةَ تَكُونُ قَرِيبًا Remember that the sa'a, the final hour for each person, is when he dies. Because مَن مَّاتَ فَقَدْ قَامَتْ قِيَامَتَهُ Whoever dies, then in fact his judgment, his qiyamah has already been established. And no person knows when he is going to die. No person knows when his life is going to come to an end. In Surah Al-Anbiya, ayah number 1, we learn, اقْتَرَبَ لِلنَّاسِ حِسَابُهُمْ وَهُمْ فِي غَفْلَةٍ مُعْرِضُونَ The hisab of the people is approaching. Meaning, their accountability, their death, the Day of Judgment is coming close to them. And what are they doing? Busy, heedless, turning away from preparing for the Day of Judgment. Preparing for their death. So, the sa'a of each person begins by his death. And no person knows when he is going to die. And the Day of Judgment even is not too far away. A person might wonder, it's been 1400 years since the Quran was revealed, it hasn't come. All of the major signs of the coming close of the Day of Judgment, they haven't come yet. Dajjal, all of these main signs, they haven't come yet. So what does it mean by this? We learn in Surah Qamar, ayah number 1, اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر The hour has come near, it has approached, and the moon has split in two. Meaning, the time that is left for the coming of the Day of Judgment, compared to the time that has elapsed already since the beginning of the creation, is less. You understand? The time that is left for the Day of Judgment to come compared to the time that has already passed by? That is less. So when you reach, like for example, in an hour, when you hit 30 minutes, after that, what do you think? The hour is going to be over any moment, isn't it? Then you start counting down. So similarly, the Day of Judgment is very close in this way. The Prophet ﷺ said, بُعِثْتُ أَنَا وَالسَّاعَةُ هَكَذَا, that I and the last hour have been sent like this. And he drew his forefinger and middle finger together to show that this is how close we are to the Day of Judgment. And the thing is that we haven't been told as to when the Day of Judgment is going to come. Why? So that we are always prepared for it. We are always prepared for it. We haven't been informed about when our death is going to come. Why? So that we are always trying to prepare for it. Because think about it. Anytime we are told this can happen, you may leave any day, you may get your passport any day, and you may have to leave the next day, and you are not told when you're going to get it, what happens? We're always ready. Isn't it so? Like for example, if we're planning to go somewhere, we have applied for the visa. You don't know, the passport might show up any day, right? So what does that mean? As soon as it shows up, you're leaving. Now, do you wait for the passport to show up and then you start packing up? No. You start packing up from before. You begin to make a list in your head from before. You start going shopping already. Why? Because you know it can come anytime and then you have to go. Likewise, we haven't been informed as to when the Day of Judgment is going to come. Why? So that we're always stay ready for it. We always prepare for it. And this is a huge mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Isn't it? Like for example, the most recent one that we have learned is about hijab. And many times people say, I'm not ready yet. I'll do it after some time. I'll do it when I'm ready. I'll do it when I'm older. But does anyone know when they're going to die? Does any person know when they're going to die? Whether they're going to get a chance to even do it or not? The matter of life and death is with who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. Our life, our death is not in our control. So what does this ayah teach us? That when we learn about something, do it. Don't delay. Because you don't know when you're going to die. Inna Allah, indeed Allah, la'ana al-kafirina, He has cursed the disbelievers. وَأَعَدَّ لَهُمْ سَعِيرًا, and He has prepared for them a blazing fire. Why is this mentioned over here? That those who deny the coming of the Day of Judgment, those who reject it, those who deny Allah, His Messenger, His commands, who oppose them, refuse to accept them, al-kafirin, for such people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what has He sent towards them? His curse. They are distant from His mercy. And in the hereafter, what has He prepared for them? أَعَدَّ لَهُمْ سَعِيرًا. Sa'ir is what? A fire that is set ablaze, that is burning fiercely. That is great in its size, and it's also great in its intensity. Violent fire. So وَأَعَدَّ لَهُمْ سَعِيرًا. And what kind of fire is it? Is it just going to burn the skin? No, it's going to go even further. In Surah Al-Ahzab, ayah 6 to 9, we learn, نَارُ اللَّهِ الْمُوقَدَةِ. It is a fire of Allah that is eternally fueled. It's not going to just burn for some time. No, it's eternally fueled. الَّتِي تَطَّلِعُ عَلَى الْأَفْئِدَةِ, which mounts directed at the hearts. It reaches even the heart. This is how deep it penetrates. إِنَّهَا عَلَيْهِمْ مُؤْصَدَةً فِي عَمَدٍ مُمَدَّدَةً. Indeed, hellfire will be closed down upon them. They will not be able to escape it. In extended columns, they will be locked up. خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا. Abiding therein eternally. لَا يَجِدُونَ وَلِيًّا وَلَا نَصِيرًا. And they will not find a protector, nor a helper. And this is a great warning. What warning do we learn from these ayat? Against kufr, against disbelief, against rejection. And remember that there are several types of kufr. Of them is kufr of istikbar, that a person knows what he should be doing, but out of pride, out of arrogance, he refuses to obey. Like for instance, who did that? Iblis, wasn't it? He knew what he was supposed to do. Did he not know that Allah was haqq? Did he not know that Allah had given him the command? Of course he knew, but he was too arrogant to accept. Similarly, another type of kufr is kufr of juhud, that a person knows, he recognizes the truth, but still he does not accept it. He recognizes the truth, but he does not accept it. What's the difference between this and istiqbal? Istiqbal is, you see it, you recognize it, you accept it, but you refuse to submit. You refuse to submit. And juhud is what? You recognize, but you refuse to accept. Like for instance, Fir'aun. He saw the truth, recognized it, but he refused to accept it. So, for such kafirin, Allah has prepared sa'ir. And for them, there is la'na of Allah. And in this sa'ir, خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا لَا يَجِدُونَ وَلِيًّا وَلَا نَصِيرًا. They will not find any escape from the hellfire. يَوْمَ تُقَلَّبُ وُجُوهُهُمْ فِي النَّارِ. The day their faces will be turned about in the hellfire. تُقَلَّبُ. Their faces will be turned about, upside down, rolled over. تُقَلَّبُ is from qaf lam ba, and قَلَّبَ يُقَلِّبُ تَقْلِيب, and from that, تُقَلَّبُ majhul, that it will be turned about. What does taqlib mean? When something changes from one state to another. When you turn something from one side to another, upside down, you keep tossing and turning. So, يَوْمَ تُقَلَّبُ وُجُوهُهُمْ. The day that their faces will be tossed about, turned upside down. Where? فِي النَّارِ. They will be turned in the fire from one side to the other. Just as when you're pan frying something, what do? You put one side on the fire. When that's cooked through, when that's heated through, what do? You pick it up and you turn it upside down so that the other side is also cooked through. That is also heated through. And sometimes if what you're frying is extremely thick, what do? You even put it sideways. Isn't it? Each and every side. Sometimes you cut it from the middle and then again you turn it sideways. Why? So that if the heat has not penetrated from one side, it's penetrated from the other side. If one side is not heated through, it can still be heated through when you expose it directly onto the fire. يَوْمَ تُقَلَّبُ وُجُوهُهُمْ فِي النَّارِ. Not even a part of their face will be saved from the fire. Every inch, every part will be exposed to the fire. يَوْمَ تُقَلَّبُ وُجُوهُهُمْ فِي النَّارِ. First of all, they'll be dragged into the fire. And then their faces will be turned about in the fire. And why will it be that the faces will be turned about? For two reasons. So that no part is left untouched by the fire. Each and every part bears the heat. Each and every part suffers a punishment. Whether it's the side of the nose or the top of the nose or beneath the nose or the cheek or the side of the cheek. Every part. And secondly, why will their faces be turned about? Because each time they will be brought close to the fire, what will they do? They will turn their face away. They will turn their face away, but their face will be turned about in the fire. يَوْمَ تُقَلَّبُ وُجُوهُهُمْ فِي النَّارِ. If you think about it, where does a person's honor and dignity lie? Where? His face. Where does his beauty lie? His face. Isn't it so? Where does a person's identity lie? In the face. And we see that a person who is just concerned about physically adorning the face, he's only concerned about his impression before the people, he's only concerned about his dignity before the people, and he is not concerned about his rank before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then what is the consequence? That same face will be turned about in the fire. You didn't submit the face to Allah. Now, bear the burning. يَوْمَ تُقَلَّبُ وُجُوهُهُمْ فِي النَّارِ. يَقُولُونَ. They will say. At which time? At the time when the punishment is being given, they will say, يَا لَيْتَنَا. Oh, woe to us. What were we thinking? Oh, we wish that. أَطَعْنَا اللَّهَ. We had obeyed Allah. Oh, we wish that we had obeyed Allah. لَيْتَنَا. This is harf tamanni. That they will express great desire that we wish we had obeyed Allah wa ata'na rasula, and we had obeyed the messenger. We wish we had been obedient to Allah, and we wish we had been obedient to His messenger as well. وَأَطَعْنَا الرَّسُولَ. You see the alif at the end, رَسُولَ. This alif is not of tanween. Remember that. Why is it not of tanween? Because the word begins with al. And any noun that begins with al cannot have tanween at the end. Isn't it so? So this alif is for some other reason. And what is that? This alif is of ishba'. That's the term that is used for it, ishba'. Just as sometimes you have an additional waw as well. And what does ishba' mean? To give tul, to give length to something. To elongate, to lengthen something. So this alif is to lengthen the ending of the word. Why is it so? Why could it not be just al-rasul? Why is it al-rasula? Why ishba'? Ishba' is typically, over here rather, this ishba' is for two reasons. First of all, to keep the endings of the verses the same. If you look at it, all of the verses, what do they end with? What do they end with? An alif, an a sound. So similarly, وَأَطَعْنَا الرَّسُولَ. To keep the rhyme, to keep the rhythm, to keep it consistent in its ending. Because it has more of an impact. And secondly, this alif is also there to express hasra, to express regret, to express sorrow, grief. That أَطَعْنَا اللَّهَ وَأَطَعْنَا الرَّسُولَ. Like when a person is sighing, what happens? He lengthens his words, isn't it? So, يَا لَيْتَنَا أَطَعْنَا اللَّهَ وَأَطَعْنَا الرَّسُولَ. Every nation, every people who enters into the hellfire is going to regret not obeying the messenger that was sent to them. Like for instance, the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Any person from them who goes to hellfire, what is he going to regret about? That I wish I had obeyed Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From the people of Musa alayhi salam, those who will be sent to the hellfire, what will they wish for? That they will wish they had obeyed Musa alayhi salam. Same with Isa alayhi salam, same with Nuh alayhi salam, same with Lut alayhi salam. All of the messengers of Allah. The people who denied them, the people who disobeyed them, they will wish they had obeyed the messenger. At that time, they will be in extreme regret. You see, any messenger that Allah has sent, any messenger, is he just sent to convey the message and that's it? No, he is also sent so that people can obey him. People should obey him. The duty of the messenger is not just to convey and teach and that's it. Rather, the right of the messenger is not just to convey, but the right of the messenger is that when he conveys, the people listen. When he instructs, the people obey. When he gives a command, the people accept, they submit. Not that they say, oh, this is only the command of the messenger. This is only what the messenger said. This is not something for us. No. Whatever the messenger commanded, it's an obligation on his people to obey him. We learn in Surah An-Nisa, ayah number 64, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا لِيُطَاعَ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. That we have not sent any messenger except that he should be obeyed by the permission of Allah. The messengers whom Allah has sent, what's their right? That they should be obeyed. Because think about it. Why did they give all the commands to us? Why did Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us what to do, what not to do? Just so that we get mentally stimulated and enjoy memorizing and enjoy revising and that's it? And not obey? Not act on anything? That was not the objective. What's the objective? That we obey him, we change our lifestyles, we follow the commands of the messenger, and we obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. Also we see that every messenger whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent, was he denied? Was he rejected? Of course he was. Every messenger was denied, he was rejected, he was mocked at. In Surah Saba, ayah 34, we learn, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا فِي قَرْيَةٍ مِّن نَذِيرٍ إِلَّا قَالَ مُتْرَفُوهَا إِنَّا بِمَا أُرْسِلْتُمْ بِهِ كَافِرُونَ. And we did not send into a city any warner, except that its affluent one said, that indeed we, in that which you have been sent with, are disbelievers. We're not going to listen to you. We're not going to obey you. So all those people who refuse to obey the messenger, who do not follow the commands of the messenger, what will be their state on the day of judgment? يَوْمَ تُقَلَّبُ وُجُوهُمْ فِي النَّارِ. Their faces will be turned about in the hellfire. And they will regret not having obeyed Allah and not having obeyed the Messenger. وَقَالُوا, and they will say, رَبَّنَا, O our Lord, إِنَّا أَطَعْنَا سَادَتَنَا وَكُبَرَاءَنَا. Our Lord, indeed we obeyed our masters and our dignitaries. فَأَضَلُّونَ السَّبِيلَ, and they led us astray from the right way. Again, as-sabila, the alif at the end is of ishbar. So, they did not obey Allah, they did not obey the Messenger. Then who did they obey? Who did they listen to? Sadatana wa kubara'ana, our leaders and our elders. Sada is the plural of the word Sayyid. It's the plural of the word Sayyid. And who is a Sayyid? Someone who is a leader, isn't it? Someone who is followed. Someone who has authority. Someone who has a great rank. Who has great value in the eyes of people. And how does a person get a great value in the sight of people? By his position, by his authority. So, sadatana wa kubara'ana. And kubara is the plural of kabir. Who is kabir? Someone who is great. Now, the greatness of a person also depends on various reasons. How is he great compared to others? He could be great compared to others in his martaba, in his rank. Like for instance, in the rank of knowledge. That he has more knowledge compared to others. Because he has more knowledge, that's why he's become a kabir. He's become an elder. You understand? Similarly, someone has a lot of wealth. And because of that wealth, he becomes a kabir. You understand? He becomes an elder. He becomes a great one. Similarly, someone has a lot of power. People listen to him. He has leadership. He has responsibility. Now because of that, he has become a kabir. He has become an elder. Now you will see that people are elders in knowledge. In their families, there's always some older person. Not necessarily in age, but someone who has authority. Isn't it so? Like for example, in some families, nothing is allowed to be done unless and until the mother allows. Isn't it? Even the husband has to take her permission. Sometimes it's the mother-in-law. Isn't it so? The father-in-law is taking permission. The son-in-law is taking permission. Everyone has to take permission before doing anything. Right? She's the boss. So who is she? Kabir. You understand? Similarly, it could be that in a country, in a particular city, there is some kabir person. Someone who is an elder. You don't disobey them. You listen to them. You respect them. So, أَطَعْنَا سَادَتَنَا وَكُبَرَاءَنَا. We obeyed our leaders, our masters, and we also obeyed who? Our elders, our dignitaries, people whom we respected a lot. فَأَضَلُّونَ السَّبِيلَ. And when we obeyed them, they led us astray. They took us away from the right path. Think about it. On one hand is the command of Allah and His Messenger. يَا لَيْتَنَا أَطَعْنَا اللَّهَ وَأَطَعْنَا الرَّسُولَ. And on the other hand is the way of who? سَادَتَنَا وَكُبَرَاءَنَا. Correct? Now, it's not necessary that what a person sada and kubara say, they are against what Allah and His Messenger have said. It's not necessary. However, when is obedience to masters, dignitaries, leaders, elders wrong? When it is in disobedience to Allah and His Messenger. When it is in disobedience to Allah and His Messenger. So all those people who preferred their sada, their kubara, and they disregarded the command of Allah and His Messenger, they didn't obey Allah and His Messenger, they will also be in extreme regret on the Day of Judgment. Because there is no obedience to the creation in disobedience to the Creator. And if a person does that, he will suffer the consequences in the hereafter. Many times what happens? We get intimidated by people of authority. People who are greater than us in knowledge. People who are greater than us in wealth. Whatever they say, that is accepted. And because of that, we cannot dare to disobey them. We cannot dare to say, you're wrong. We cannot dare to say that instead we're going to obey what Allah and His Messenger have said. And it could be in the smallest of things even. Smallest of things even, with regards to eating, with regards to dressing up, with regards to doing something, not doing something. Like for instance, at the time of a wedding even. What happens? Many girls who are very strong about their hijab, about segregation, about staying away from non-mahram, all of that. What happens at the time of the wedding? What happens? Even men who are very concerned about their religion. At their weddings, it's the culture, isn't it? It's the sada, it's the kubara. You cannot go against the elders of the family. You cannot disobey them. Whatever they say, happens. But remember that even at these occasions, we cannot obey them. Even at these occasions, we cannot obey them. Because if we obey them, who are we disobeying? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we obey them, then what are the consequences? فَأَضَلُّونَ السَّبِيلَ. They're leading us astray. They're telling us to do something that is wrong. Similarly, what happens is that people follow others blindly. Just because a particular person of some authority, like for example, with some knowledge, they have said something, people will cling to their statement, they will cling to their opinion blindly. They will follow it blindly, without seeing what Allah and His Messenger have said. Like for instance, even when it comes to the command of hijab. If you look at just this one ayah that we learnt, one ayah only, in which the Prophet ﷺ was commanded to tell who? His wives and also his daughters and the believing women. The command is equal for all of them. Did he tell his wives, you may cover everything but your face and hands? Did he say that? No. What did they cover? Everything. So similarly, the same command goes for who? For us as well. If that is a command for his wives, then the same command is for the rest of the women as well. Because that's what the ayah says, قُلْ لِأَزْوَاجِكَ وَبَنَاتِكَ وَنِسَاءِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Isn't this ayah sufficient? Isn't this enough? But what happens? Just because a particular person has said that no, there's another opinion, or no, you don't have to do this, regardless of who he is, we don't disrespect them. We don't disrespect them at all. However, when it comes to Allah and His Messenger, their statement, their way, then that should be given preference. We cannot follow other people blindly. Sometimes we just follow other people, we hold on to their opinions just because we prefer them, we like them ourselves. But this is not the right way. This will be a source of great regret on the Day of Judgment. That they will say, رَبَّنَا إِنَّا أَطَعْنَا سَادَتَنَا وَكُبَرَاءَنَا. We obeyed them. فَأَضَلُّونَ السَّبِيلَ. We just obeyed them blindly. We didn't use our mind. We didn't pay attention to what you had said very clearly in your book, but rather we just held on to their opinions. That's it. أَطَعْنَا سَادَتَنَا وَكُبَرَاءَنَا. If you think about it, differences of opinion, what are they? They are a test. Like for example, when it comes to this issue of hijab even, wasn't it just simple for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to clearly say in the Quran, it's wajib? For instance, wouldn't it solve so many problems? And not just this issue, but so many other issues as well. One statement of the Prophet ﷺ, which would clearly say, it's wajib, you have to do it. But it hasn't been said. Was it because Allah and His Messenger forgot? No, it's because it's a test for us. That what do we do? When we learn that Allah and His Messenger have said this. When Allah has given a command in this way, in this much detail, so much clarity, what do we do? Do we take it as it is? Or do we go on asking questions and going into details and going into differences of opinion, and we get lost in that and we say, okay, forget about it. This is a test for us. What do we do? Do we give preference to the statement of Allah and His Messenger? Do we submit right there, even if it's one ayah? Because إِنَّمَا يُؤْمِنُ بِآيَاتِنَا الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهَا خَرُّوا سُجَّدًا. Immediately, Allah has said this, one ayah, enough for me. And believe me, for myself even, this one ayah is enough. I don't need to look at so many other evidences and all of that. It's an ayah of the Quran. One statement in which Allah is telling His Messenger, who is commanded to tell His wives and also the believing women. What did His wives do? They covered their faces. What did the believing women do? Most of them, they did that as well. And if you do find other reports in which some women did not do it, it's quite possible they didn't know. There were people embracing Islam every single day. Isn't it so? It's quite possible they didn't know. It's quite possible the Prophet ﷺ did not tell them immediately because it would be difficult for them to accept. Allahu A'lam, there could be many other reasons. But one ayah is enough. It's sufficient. So, أَطَعْنَا اللَّهَ, they will regret on the Day of Judgment, يَا لَيْتَنَا أَطَعْنَا اللَّهَ وَأَطَعْنَا الرَّسُولَ. And instead, who did we obey? We obeyed سَادَتَنَا وَكُبَرَاءَنَا. We didn't use our minds. Now, definitely these ayat are about the disbelievers. However, there is a great lesson in this for us as well. They will say, رَبَّنَا, O our Lord, آتِهِمْ, give them, ضِعْفَيْنِ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ, double the punishment. Who will say this? The followers will say this on the Day of Judgment. That, O Allah, give them double punishment. ضِعْفَيْن, dual of ضِعْف, meaning twice the punishment that we are suffering from. We are suffering because of them. They led us astray. So, O Allah, you give them double punishment. Why double punishment? Because they were misguided themselves and they also misguided us. For their dalal and also idlal. وَلْعَنْهُمْ, and curse them. لَعْنًا كَبِيرًا, a great curse. And لَعْنًا كَبِيرًا has also been read as كَثِيرًا, many curses. Great in number, a great curse. وَلْعَنْهُمْ لَعْنًا كَبِيرًا. What do we see over here? That all their friendships and their loyalties will come to an end. And this is the reality. When a person holds on to other than Allah. When a person holds on to other than Allah in disobedience to Allah. That all such friendships, all such loyalties will come to an end on the Day of Judgment. Look at them. They obeyed them, they respected them in the dunya, so much so they didn't dare to disobey them. They held on to their words, they held on to their statements, they memorized them, they quoted them everywhere. But we see that on the Day of Judgment, that friendship, that loyalty, finished. Finished completely. In Surah Al-Furqan, ayat 27 to 29, we learn, وَيَوْمَ يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ يَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي اتَّخَذْتُ مَعَ الرَّسُولِ سَبِيلًا. That on the day the wrongdoer will bite on his own hands and he will say, oh, woe to me, I wish I had taken with the messenger away, meaning I wish I had obeyed him. يَا وَيْلَتَى لَيْتَنِي لَمْ أَتَّخِذْ فُلَانًا خَلِيلًا. Oh, woe to me, I wish I had not taken that person as a friend. لَقَدْ أَضَلَّنِي عَنِ الذِّكْرِ بَعْدَ إِذْ جَاءَنِي وَكَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِلْإِنسَانِ خَذُولًا. He led me away from the remembrance after it had come to me. And ever is shaitan to man a deserter. In Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 166 as well, we learn, إِسْتَبَرَّأَ الَّذِينَ اتُّبِعُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوا. That those people who have been followed will disassociate themselves from those who followed them. Even the leaders will disassociate from their followers. Their friendship will completely come to an end. Completely it will come to an end.